Hi, I'm Anushka, and over the past 8 years, I have done tons of coffee chats with professionals in the sustainability space. And those conversations directly led to career guidance, referrals, opportunities, and collaborations that I never saw coming. So, if you ever felt awkward reaching out to someone you admire, or you are not sure what to say during the meeting, this video will give you a clear step by step game plan that actually works. So, by the end of this video, you will know exactly how to get the meeting, what to say during it, and how to follow up so that people remember you in a good way. So, what is a coffee chat? Coffee chat is an informational interview with a person in your field where you learn about their role, work, projects, basically to gain industry insights, build meaningful relationships, and access hidden opportunities. And there are three phases of a coffee chat: prepare, connect, and follow through. And in this video, we will go through all these phases one by one. Phase 1 is prepare, laying the groundwork. So remember, everything you do before the coffee chat sets the tone for the conversation. So the step 1 is finding the right people. And you can start by searching for the right people either in the LinkedIn or Twitter. And while searching the people, know your goals like why do you want to reach out to this person in the first place? Or what are you hoping to get out of this conversation? So in short, before the chat, you can ask yourself like, what's the goal for this meeting? Is it to understand more about their work? Or are you seeking career advice? Or are you hoping to get insights into industry trends? Or is it to just build the long term relationships? Next step is outreach. You found the person, you are super clear on your goal. Now it's time to craft a short and warm outreach message. The goal here is to keep the message super clear, short, and friendly. So, in your text, mention who you are, how you found them, and why you would like to connect. So, here is a quick example of the outreach message. And if you want this template, it's linked in the description below. So, you can say something like, "Hi, I hope you're doing well. I came across your profile and was really interested in your work in," and then you can mention the specific field, role, company, or project. Then you can say, "I'm currently," and then mention whether you are exploring opportunities in the sustainability space, transitioning from some other field, and then say, I would love to learn more about your career path and experiences. Then wrap it up by saying, would you be open to a short coffee chat in the coming weeks? I would really appreciate your insights and I will work around your schedule. Thanks. You found the person, successfully reached out to them, and they agreed to have a call with you. So the next step is to schedule the call. Yay! So this is the part where you turn your intent into action. And many people literally miss this one. And the reason I say this is because many people say, sure, let's chat, but they never follow through. And if you don't lock down a date or a time quickly, the opportunity drifts away. In order to schedule a call, there are a couple of things that you need to know. So first, offer specific time ranges. Suggest 2 to 3 date and time windows instead of saying when are you free. It really makes it easier for them to choose. Then mention the time zone. So I have seen people scheduling the call without paying any attention to the time zones. I mean, saying let's meet at 3 is meaningless unless you clarify which 3. Then confirm the format, like whether you are meeting in person, Zoom, or phone call. Personally, I have done 99% of coffee chats virtually, but it really depends person to person. So make sure you clarify this part. Then allow flexibility. Let them know that you're happy to adjust if your suggested times doesn't work. And then finally, once confirmed, send an invite with date, time, format, and any meeting link. To make a scheduling effortless, I prefer to use online scheduling tools. These tools not only save your time in emailing back and forth, but also automatically adjust for different time zones. Personally, I prefer Calendly and Google Calendar, both of which are free, and they perfectly sync with Google Outlook and Apple Calendar, and also send reminders and follow-ups. So it's really easy. So if you want a walkthrough of Calendly or Google Calendar and want to learn how to schedule calls, watch part 2 of this video where I will show you exactly how to set it up so scheduling feels effortless for both you and your chat partner. And in the part 2, I will also share some tips and best practices from setting boundaries to making the chat itself more impactful. So you can not only book the call, but really ace it. Okay, the last step of our preparation phase is planning your questions for the chat day, or in other words, setting the agenda. Planning your questions is the make or break point of the coffee chat journey. It's like really important how you plan your questions and approach the conversation. Because even if the chat is a schedule, showing up unprepared can really make the conversation feel shallow or unfocused. And it really reduces your chances of follow up or long term connection. Think of this step as an extension of the step one that we just discussed, like finding the right people. Think why you reached out to this person in the first place. What's your motivation? Like, are you seeking career advice, industry insights, networking, mentorship, or collaboration? To prepare the questions for the coffee chat, start with their LinkedIn page. Super easy. See their past work, what sort of projects they are working on, and what skills they have. And if you want to go a step further, you can also search them in their company website or like Google search them to see their past and current work. Once you have done your research, it's time to jot down the questions. And there are some tips that I would like to share with you. Make your questions open ended. A list of open ended questions basically will guide the conversation, like avoid yes and no questions. So rather than asking like how or why, ask like what's your take on dash dash. From your research, include personal insight hooks. Really important. You want to reference something like a specific they have done. You can ask, I saw you led X project. How did you approach it? Basically, this will show that you have done your research and you came prepared. The next one is prioritize your top 3 to 5 questions. So, in case like the conversation runs short, you want to make sure that all of your important questions get asked. And finally, here are some of the examples on the screen that you can use in your next chat. If you're interested to know how I structure my questions for a meaningful and productive coffee chat, watch part 2 of this video. Phase 2 is connect, where we are building the real connections. So you have prepared for your coffee chat. It's time to talk about like things to do on the actual day of your coffee chat. And remember, this is where you turn your meeting into a relationship. First and foremost, join early. Be punctual. Super important. Like you don't want to be late. You have limited 30 minutes and you don't want to lose a single minute. And once you join, start with gratitude. You can say something like, thanks so much for taking the time to chat with me, or something like, I know you're busy, so I truly value the time you set aside for this conversation. Anything to express the gratitude. The next, jump into the intros. Quickly share like who you are in a couple of sentences, state the purpose of the calls. I know you already mentioned purpose of the call in your outreach message, but it's a good idea to just remind the purpose of the call. Okay, time for a story. So a couple of years ago, I was in a coffee chat and asked the person for a feedback like on how I could improve my coffee chat skills. So they gave me a wonderful piece of advice that really stuck with me to this day. So they said that I needed to strengthen my introduction. I was surprised. So the reason was that the way you pitch yourself at the start of the chat often decides like how the rest of the conversation will go. A clear, confident intro gives the other person context and also helps guide the discussion in a really meaningful way. Since then, I have worked on keeping my intros really short, clear, and intentional. And honestly, it has made a huge difference on how productive and engaging my coffee chats have become since then. So, if you want to know like how I prep my intros, you can go and watch the part 2 of this video, which I have linked in the description below. Okay, coming back to the actual coffee chat day, once you're done with your intro, jump to the questions. But like begin with something personal and of course appropriate, like that they have shared publicly. You can talk about a recent project, article, talk, or a career milestone. Something basically open-ended. Instead of like a yes or no question, you can ask like what inspired you to. And also like asking a personal question not only breaks the ice but also helps in like a smooth flow of the conversation. Next is be conversational. So this is not an interview. Use your questions as a guide, not as a script. Like let the conversation flow. You don't have to stick to a rigid list if a new interesting thread appears. Be comfortable and just follow the flow. Okay, next is listen actively. Like nod, smile, and show engagement. Like don't just wait for your turn to speak. And again, it's not an interview, so just relax. One thing that I have realized over the time is that coffee chats aren't just about the information or the career advice. Like they are about people, about you, me, us humans. So it's really easy to overthink the questions or like focus too much on the professional side. But at the end of the day, you are talking to another human being. And that means showing curiosity, like sharing a little bit about yourself and also finding a common ground. So maybe it's a shared interest, like a career challenge you both faced, or even something like as small as a book or a podcast that you both enjoy. And these little human connections are what make the conversation really memorable. So, when you treat a coffee chat as a real conversation and not like an interview, people genuinely open up more. And that's when you get like the real insights, stories, and connections that really matter. And finally, respect the agreed time. So, if the conversation is flowing and you need more time, like you can ask politely something like, I want to be mindful of your time, like, do you have a few more minutes or should we wrap up? Okay, let's talk about third and final phase of our coffee chat journey. You have finished your chat, like now what? It's time to turn our conversation into action. So remember, the chat ends, but the relationship doesn't have to. So within the 24 hours of your chat, send a short, genuine thank you note. And you can start by thanking them for their time and insights, and then also highlight a specific insight or story that they shared. And it also shows that you are paying attention and appreciate their help. And this step is really important in building the lasting relationship. And from my experience, I'm telling you, like, not many people are doing this. Okay, next step is keeping them in loop. So maybe they told about your new project or a nonprofit in need of volunteers. So make sure to follow up and take the next step. And if you already applied or like got the opportunity, reach out to them to like just let them know about it. And you can also share like what you learn, whether that's implementing advice, continuing to build your skill set, or applying for the roles that they mention. And like I mentioned earlier, like coffee chats are about people, about human connection. And like your personal relationships, you need to work on this, like put some effort on it. Okay, the last step is offer value back. So, based on your coffee chat conversation, now you know the person better than their LinkedIn profile, right? So, to establish a long term relationship, think of the ways like you can help and support them. And as I said earlier, like coffee chats are not one time transaction. Think of it as planting a seed. Nurture the connection over time with thoughtful follow ups. And for that, like you can share resources, articles, or connections relevant to something they mentioned during the coffee chat. And this mutual sharing also flip the dynamic like from you help me to we help each other. So basically, it's like a win win for both of you. So, to bring it all together, we have looked at coffee chats in three simple phases. Prepare, basically do your research, plan your questions, and set up the goal. Connect, like show up them with a strong intro, make it real conversation, and focus on building that human connection. And then finally, follow up. So, thank them, share your takeaways, and keep the door open for future conversations. And remember, like coffee chats aren't just about gathering information, they're about building relationships. And if you approach them with curiosity and authenticity, each chat can open the door to new opportunities and meaningful connections. Thank you so much for watching part 1 of our coffee chat series. Today, we covered how to prepare, connect, and follow up to make every coffee chat meaningful. So, if you want to take things to the next level, don't miss part 2, where I'll show you exactly how I schedule my coffee chats, craft introductions, set powerful questions, and run conversations that leave a lasting impression. Part 2 is all about the practical real world tactics that turn strategy into results. So, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like and share, and make sure to watch part 2 of our series. And I would love to hear from you. So, why don't you drop a comment with your favorite coffee chat tip or a challenge you faced, and I might feature it in the next video. Until then, stay curious, stay caffeinated, and keep chasing that purpose.